I was born on the 1st of January 1935. My father was a solicitor. We lived in Kaunas, Lithuania. I was born there. I think 1940, we were going to go to Africa to join my mother's family, who already lived in Africa. Only my mother's parents, they're my grandparents. Then the Russians marched in 1940, and to indoctrinate children into communism, they took all the children from the school, I already went to school, to a holiday coast in Palanga on the Baltic coast. And my parents saw me off at the station. And for me, war started in June, the 22nd of June, 1941. I know because there are many songs about that. And it appeared like lightning and thunder. And I thought, God must be angry to throw such things. And the house next door caught fire, and the children were rushed out. And somebody yelled, war, war. That was my introduction to Germans, tanks, and war. The railway was bombed, so we were slowly walked and eventually reached Kaunas, where we lived. I was taken to our house where we lived, and I saw my mother and granny were crying bitterly. There was no father, there was no grandpa. And when I queried eventually, I was told that the caretaker had to point out where Jews lived in our buildings. And they took out my grandfather, father, and all the other Jews that lived in our yard, and they took them away. And we were to go to the ghetto. Advice was given. I remember people coming and going to the house. My mother crying, the adults were all crying and performing. And we were only allowed, I remember the horse and cart coming to fetch us for the ghetto. We were only allowed, we were 2 beds. There was my mother, granny, my sister and I, and a chest and lots of suitcases. I wasn't even allowed to take my doll. Where we were going, we wouldn't be needing it, said my mother. We got to the ghetto. We trudged along, many people trudged the same way with the stars, and the city was ablaze with soldiers and funny flags. We reached there, and we arrived into the ghetto. The ghetto is a massive cage, put around with barbed wire to keep the special breed of animal, whatever they called us, Jews. And it was a big, massive gate, and all the buildings around the areas were demolished on the sides, so that we should have no contact with humanity, or that it shouldn't be easy to escape, as people tried to escape often through the barbed wire. And it was high density wouldn't be the word, because one was crowded like sardines in a tin. And we had through little streets, and it was strange little houses, and eventually the horse and cart stopped at one house. We got in, I saw so many people in a house. What are all those people doing in our house? Well, we all shared in a small room. Our room consisted of 2 beds, L-shaped. Above the bed, suspended from the ceiling on wooden boards, were placed all the suitcases we had. The rest were pulled under those beds. We had a wooden chest just on the side of the bed, which faced the window. Outside the window was a huge, humongous fence, those big fences. And we were warned never to go close to the fence. I saw children shot. You'd go close to the fence. I remember a little child being shot. And then I used to watch the guard through the window. But in later stages, I was